did it. And tonight was a monumental night for that football club and for the sport in this country.
It's Charlie Trafford off to celebrate in the snow. Cavalry are level. Moosey hangs it high. Herdman heads it over. Washevsky! An absolute goal!
The second leg, could they do it?
They have everything to play for in a week's time.
The Canadian Premier League champions make a consecutive return to Concacaf Champions Cup at their temporary home away from home. Another half chance for Pumas. They'll test Carducci. He's got to respond. Pouncing on it is Santiago Lopez. This looks more orthodox, and it's a brilliant ball. It's Charlie Trafford. Cavalry are level. Disrupt and prevent the clearance, and there's plenty of numbers. Moosey hangs it high. Herdman heads it over. Washevsky! An absolute golazo!
The great Mexican side Pumas are back on the prowl with work to do, trailing in this first round CONCACAF Champions Cup tie as Cavalry have ridden down to Mexico, and they have such a long way to go to get through 90 minutes in Mexico, but they want to ride like the wind. Ride like the wind. I am Gareth Wheeler. He is Jordan Wilson. This is the second leg of two in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. It's Pumas, it's Cavalry, and it was the Canadian Premier League side, the North Star Cup winners, who came away with the upset 2-1 victory in the first leg. We are making our way through the first round of competition. This tournament started with 27 teams, five rounds of play, Jordan, and thus far 4 teams have been eliminated as we take a look at the CONCACAF Champions Cup bracket. The teams that have been eliminated: Forge of the CPL were eliminated by Monterrey on Tuesday night. Real Hope, well, they had no hope. They out. Cibo and Real Esteli are all eliminated from this competition. And there you go, Cavalry right there at the bottom of the bracket. The winner will take on Costa Rican side Alajuelense in the next round of this competition. Cavalry, of course, the 2-1 victory in the last leg. It has Canadian soccer fans dreaming, Jordan.
They should dream. I mean, this is unprecedented if they can get this done. Unexpected to a degree as well, Wheels, but I think there is a chance that Cavalry pulls off tonight. But can we just give a moment for your copper suit, brother?
My copper suit? Copper denim combo.
Gotta
look good on a big night like this.
It's a big night!
And potentially another historic night for Canadian soccer. So much on the line tonight. We should also mention that the away goals rule is in play. It's not like what you're seeing in European club football in the European Champions League. So really that away goal means a lot for Pumas. But going the other way tonight, scoring a goal for Cavalry is paramount to continue to apply that pressure.
Yeah, for sure. I think the game plan, if I'm in that locker room, if I'm a Cavalry player right now, I know that you're going to suffer a little bit, Wheels. But you can't suffer the whole match. There has to be a game plan. There has to be some fouls won, players taking their time. But also, what was their success in leg one for Cavalry is the fact that they played the game full on, meaning they went forward, they try to attack, they try to create. So balance is going to be key tonight, but if they sit back, this could be a long one. They have to make sure that they go and press.
Stats look good. Outshot Pumas 7-5, 3-2 on target. Conceded first in the game, only to punch back with 2 goals in the second half as well. Let's put into context, if Cavalry are able to advance, what this would mean. Pumas is one of the big clubs in Liga MX. They won this tournament 3 times in the 1980s. Hugo Sanchez, a legendary player, represented this club with so much success for so long. There's no way that a Canadian Premier League squad was expected to be able to go to compete like they did in the first leg.
Yeah, I said it before, but I'll say it again. If Cavalry can pull off the victory today, people have to put some serious respect on their name. I mean, I think they've already deserved it. But doing this so early with probably, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of training wheels in February to go to Mexico and beat Pumas, beat Mexican Giants, this would be phenomenal for the club, but also the players that are playing specifically in this game.
Some interesting comments coming into this one as well. Charlie Trafford, the gentleman who scored the opening goal for Cavalry in the last leg, said it's going to be a war. Tommy Wheeldon Jr., the manager, TWJ, said they need an entirely new game plan this time around. It's going to be a completely different game. What does he mean by like that? What do you expect?
I think for what happened in the first leg is they were compact at times. They're going to be far more compact today. I think defensively there's going to be players that have to step up and they have to be a unit. But you look at this side, I don't think you can go and play the same way. One, because of the pitch size. Also because of the fact that you're playing. You can do that, but they have to pick their moments well. If they try to sit back or they go forward too much, I think Pumas has too much quality and they'll pick them apart.
Only 22 degrees. Looks like there could be some storms, some dark clouds. Perhaps it's just the dark clouds hovering over Pumas right now. But Cavalry and Tommy Wheeldon Jr., they start the exact same starting 11 that played last week. A little bit of a surprise that Fraser Aird and Diego Gutierrez haven't recovered enough to make their way into the team. So with Nicholas Volling playing at right back again, Camden Fayou, Montgomery, Cobbs to complete the back four. Trafford, who scored first for Cavalry last time out, he plays alongside the reliable Xavi Chom. Jay Herman, outstanding attacking on the left. Ali Musi as well. And Tobias Warshevsky playing in front of Sergio Camargo. Warshevsky, the main man, scored a phenomenal match winner a week ago tonight. Let's hear from Tommy Wheeldon Jr. ahead of this one tonight and resetting maybe the game plan and some of the expectations.
Welcome, Coach Tommy Wheeldon, DT the Cavalry FC. Coach, after the result of the first game, how did you face today's match?
Well, we can't look at that result and think we can just carry it over to this one. We have to play a new game. We have to come into a historic club and a great stadium and have to put in an even better performance. But I believe in our guys. We're a tough team to play against, but we also have to respect our opponent.
Coach, what is expected of the Cavalry FC in the field?
Sorry, what's the perspective? Yeah, listen, we want to be tough to break down. We know that Pumas will probably put a few more of their bigger players in, and we want that to happen because we want to see where we can go in this tournament. And in order to advance in this tournament, you got to play the best of the best. And Pumas are one of the big clubs in Mexico and deserve to be in this tournament as a 3-time champion. So we want to face their very best to see how we do.
Thank you, Coach.
Gracias.
We should also mention this is a completely new experience for Cavalry. Yes, they played the one game in the U.S. against Orlando City next year, but this is their first game in Mexico, the Caribbean, Central America. So the context tonight, a special one, a big spotlight will be shined on Cavalry in this one. No bigger star who's shining under that spotlight for Cavalry than Tobias Warshevsky, the Golden Boot winner in the Canadian Premier League last season. He's 27. Seems like he's really hit his stride. Tonight, I mean, all eyes are on him from an attacking perspective as well as putting the defensive work as well, something he's very capable of.
There's no denying he's the X factor. And we said it before in the pregame, before leg one, that if there's someone that's going to give you a moment, it was him. And what a fantastic moment he gave a week ago in the 80th minute. But tonight is going to be different. Tonight is going to be a lot of him being locked in, maybe winning fouls. But again, he has that X factor and that spark that Cavalry need to maybe score a goal, maybe win that free kick in the right spot to really punch them ahead. Scored
in 6 consecutive matches. How about that stat right there? Let's talk Callum Montgomery at the back. Dan Klompe was announced. The former Canadian Premier League Player of the Year and 2-time Defender of the Year who left Cavalry. It was announced that he signed on with a Belgium 2nd Division club. Those are big shoes to fill. Callum Montgomery is expected to do that. Only played about half the minutes of Dan Klomp last year. Thought he was very good last week in that win over Pumas.
You can see the potential with this player with that left foot, his size. He has the profile to be fantastic. 27. played over 30 appearances for Cavalry. I think where he needs to exceed and excel is in that leadership aspect. And today, there's no better night than a night when Pumas has to go out and score, has to go and take it to Cavalry for a player like that to step up, Wheels. He has to lead the line. And for me, how I judge a center back is making sure you deal with issues before they arise. Be proactive, not reactive to situations. If he could do that, he can really state his claim and start this year on the right foot.
For teams to be successful, any team in club football, there has to be those unsung heroes. I think Jay Herdman fits the bill for Cavalry.
Yep.
20 years of age, the youngest player in the Cavalry starting 11. New Zealand, under 20, under 23 player as well, former Whitecaps product. He joined Cavalry midstream last season. He's played 9 games for the club, and Cavalry have yet to lose in those games. That stands out to me, Jordan.
I like him because, for me, he's an old school winger. What I mean by that, taking on players, but also tracking back and making sure that he's making life easy for the left back. He was full of life. He was energetic, and he wanted to go forward and create. And look, everyone's talking about Tobias Warszewski and that finish, and it was the, what do you call him, the two-touch?
I call this Tobias two-touch.
And it was great, but that header and the wherewithal to know that you're going to put it in the mixer for that player in the 80th minute where most wingers are tired and maybe they give a sloppy pass, he was on point. He needs to have that same energy tonight as well.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. The 11 worked well last week, and Wielden Jr. certainly has options coming off the bench. It's a very different-looking Puma side tonight. 6 changes from their 1-0 victory over Mazatlan on the weekend. Make it 8 changes from the team that started last week. Good news for Canadian soccer fans, maybe not Cavalry specifically tonight, but the young Canadian Santiago Lopez continues to lead the line. This is a team with a ton of talent. They're currently 5th place in Liga MX in the Clausura through 6 games. Pizzetto comes in. He leads the team with 5 goals on the season. Caicedo in the midfield, good player. And Alberto Carrasquilla is a former player of Houston Dynamo, a club record signing, has 63 caps for Panama, and he's going to be the engine in the midfield tonight for Pumas.
There's a lot of players for Pumas that could hurt Cavalry if they don't put that pressure on them and be in the correct position. When you're looking at Pizzetto up top as well, this is a guy for Cobzo. You have to make sure you know where he is at all times. If you sleep for a second, Pumas will punish you. And the start for Cavalry today is so important, Wheels. If they show that they're fragile in the first 10 minutes, the quality within this Puma side will make them feel it. They have to make sure they're ready for everything that comes their way.
Their manager, Gustavo Lima, is under all kinds of pressure after that loss to Cavalry. We should also mention it took them till 90+11 at home to beat Mazatlan on the weekend. There are really some clouds of uncertainty and some real angst developing about this Pumas side. They got absolutely dominated by Monterrey in the Apertura playoffs as well. So that's what Cavalry want to do, right?
Yeah.
Plant some seeds of doubt here tonight.
Look, if it's 0-0 at half, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some booze. The manager right now, he can't be sleeping well for Pumas. There's expectations with this club to go on and definitely beat a Cavalry side. So I think that plays into Cavalry. Take your time on throw-ins. Make sure when you win a foul, you take your time to get up. All these little things could really run Pumas the wrong way.
Yeah, really interesting stuff because you wouldn't expect that from a side who finished runners-up in this competition back in 2022, losing to the Seattle Sounders in the process. All right, it's Cavalry and Pumas at the top of the clock. Let's get to know Tobias Warszewski a little bit better. His manager says that he's magic. Warszewski the wizard? Does he have a Harry Potter type act that he's going to put on display tonight? We're counting it to kickoff here, your second leg in the Concacaf Champions Cup.
Save up to 33% on select Walmart brand products. She nods in approval and places the tuna in her cart. This lady loves her tuna. She questions the ominous voice above her. Oh.
This isn't your first time flying to show support for your team, but it is the first time you use the wrong kind of paint.
It says here you could try mayonnaise.
WestJet, where your story takes off.
From nutritious feed to 7 times omega, enjoy the goodness of Nature Egg Omega Plus eggs. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Warshevsky!
Toby's amazing. It's so fun to play with him.
And what a goal! Toby Warshevsky has found the equalizer in stoppage time.
He kind of thinks the same way that I do, so I just try to kind of be around him whenever he's trying to make a play and see if I can help him in any way and just let his magic come out, right?
Gaggle of white shirts. Camden trying to cushion it to the back post. It'll come to Warshevsky. It's in. And Warshevsky has scored.
So that's what's been very fun for me this last year and going into this year is playing with the likes of Toby.
Reels it in, puts it behind Para, aired low, dangerous, in the goal! Tobias Warshevsky!
Oh yeah, I don't know really what happened. Sometimes I just black out and I don't know, I just touch it, finish it, I don't know how to really explain it.
To disrupt and prevent the clearance, and there's plenty of numbers. Moosey hangs it high. Herdman heads it over. Warshevsky! An absolute golazo!
Have just fun on the pitch. This is what I like to do, you know.
It's Warshevsky's world, and we're just living in it. What a character, what a guy, what a goal last week as well. He's on the form of his life right now. Such an interesting story, playing in the lower divisions of German football. Actually played for the Germany under-19 teams in the European Championship. Scored against England in a team. Scored against Aaron Ramsdale in a team with Mason Mount and Reece James. Very cool. But then he kind of lost his way. Even in the Canadian Premier League, I believe he was signed by your York United squad, Jordan. And he was put on loan.
Let's just keep moving.
That was a mistake right there. Didn't play in 2023 and made his debut with Cavalry in this competition a year ago. He's on the form of his life right now. And our very own Christian Jack has got to spend some time with Tobias Warshevsky, not only on this trip down to Mexico City, but over the recent years as well. Let's go down to Mexico City now and hear more about Tobias Warshevsky from our very own Christian Jack. KJ.
Yeah, thanks, Gareth. I mean, he's become quite the story, hasn't he, in Canadian soccer and certainly in Mexican soccer as well. Tobias Warshevsky across the news here in Mexico over the last few days. It's been a blessing to be around Cavalry. And I had a great chat with him this morning over breakfast. And, you know, you talked about that under-21 and under-17 European Championship experience with Germany and playing against those top internationals. And he's always been the kind of player where has stood up big in big moments. He told me, you know, I'm quite a unique personality. And what he meant by that is that unless it's a really comfortable environment, he doesn't succeed, he doesn't do well. He's happy to actually walk away from ones which he has in the past. This is a man who quit soccer, so to speak, twice in between those Canadian Premier League stints, and then Cavalry got him back off his couch to bring him out here. But he said, you know, every game is just a game to me. My heart rate remains low, and he just enjoys playing soccer. And you can see that Tommy Wheeldon Jr. and Cavalry have really created that unity. You guys talked earlier in the show, what's it going to take tonight? It's going to take that kind of unity. And when you've got a player like Warshevsky, who I expect to see play a little bit deeper watching training this week, a bit more of a false nine, stay in those central positions, ask Camargo to be a little bit deeper, and that's why he is so valuable. He's very flexible, and he can play in different positions as well. You led off the show where we talked about what Cavalry can do and what it really is, the task, the size of the task. Tommy Wheeldon Jr. said in his press conference yesterday, we come into the Lions' Den where the Pumas play. And just think about this. In 50 years in the history of this competition, Canadian teams have come to Mexico 21 times and won once. Toronto FC in the 2018 final. You may say, well, Cavalry don't have to win tonight, but the score over those 21 games, a combined 45-16 to the Mexican teams. They know this Pumas team, the news and the pressure's been on them all week here, and their coach is under a lot of pressure. They're going to come out fast and firing quick. Cavalry told me before they went to warm-ups, we're going to keep it compact and take every bit 15 minutes as a part of the game going forward. Fascinating here. Storms are coming in. Atmosphere is great. Cavalry fans over to my left. Should be an exciting match, guys.
Cool. Well done, Christian Jack. Over 4,500 kilometers away, the foot soldiers have made the trip down to Mexico City. That's great to see. And he mentioned that Toronto FC team, that the lone side that won a game in Mexico, well, they won the game but lost the war in the end as they lost in penalties in 2018, and arguably the greatest side in Major League Soccer history. But let's talk about this Cavalry side here tonight, the way that they use Tobias Warszewski. Interesting hearing KJ said they're going to use him as a false nine because Tommy Wheeldon Jr. puts him all over the field. We've seen him play on the right, the left, leading the line. I guess that tactical versatility makes Cavalry so difficult to game plan against.
Tommy Wheeldon Jr. said it so many times. It goes with Toby. He gives him the defensive principles where he needs to be, but he just lets him do his magic. And I was sifting through the first half, Wheels, and I just saw him all over the pitch. I don't think Pumas really knows where he plays. Look early in the game. Marco Carducci plays it up. And there's only one man in that front four that could win this ball, and that's Tobias Warszewski. You know how important it is to basically win the game within the game and win against a center back. Then you see him here doubling down, helping the left back in Camden Fairwood as well. Now, this is what I like to see as well. He's maybe a winger in this point, Wheels, or false nine, but look how deep he is coming to get the ball. He's basically in front of the midfield, right? You have Camargo, you could say is the number 9, and then he sprays it out here. Volley should probably do better with this ball, but again, it's Warszewski dictating the play. The little flick on here, watch this little cheeky touch. Whoop. Then they're off to the races, Wheels. Again, Herdman's gonna have a big night, but he was on the end of that. But again, it's all through Warszewski. This one has to be my favorite, because most players would play back. He turns and has the confidence to want to receive the ball, understands that maybe nothing's on, let's keep it. And then this is the one that you gotta keep seeing, and this is how he shows that moment. I don't really want to talk about the goal so much, Wheels. I want to talk about the fact that he's always moving and ready. He pointed there, then he redirects himself, takes that touch, and he wants to be the difference maker. No one knows where he's going to play. He has that freedom to do his thing, but he always steps up big for his club.
Tommy Wheeldon Jr., it was just about a year ago, proclaimed to us ahead of Tobias Warszewski's debut with Cavalry that he has the potential to be the best player in this league. And I was like, no, I didn't believe him, but he's proved me wrong yet again.
He's the
Not
guy.
a hard thing to do, but
He's
it's been
the
so
guy.
impressive the way that he's gone about his business, leading Cavalry to trophies and potentially another historic result tonight. Canada under Casey Stoney, a first look at them in the Pinatar Cup, not to be confused with the Pat Benatar Cup.
Whoa.
That's me at karaoke, my friends.
I'd love
there's
to
the
see that.
times, there's the dates. The Canadian women's national team in action for the first time in 2025. Kickoff at the top of the clock. We cannot wait for this. A 2-1 advantage. Go out and get an away goal, Cavalry, and make the lives on Pumas difficult. They don't generate a ton in attack, so ask some questions early and often. It's the Concacaf Champions Cup, and you're watching here on One Soccer.
Save up to 33% on select Walmart brand products. She nods in approval and places the tuna in her cart. This lady loves her tuna. She questions the ominous voice above her. Oh.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
Absolute beauty from Tristan Borges.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
A guy like this, who relies on his truck for work, knows that his truck will take care of him if he takes care of his truck. And WeatherTech has always been the ultimate protection. From floor liners to no-drill mud flaps to tech liner for your truck bed to bump step to the handy under-seat storage system. And Cup Phone keeps phones secure in any cup holder. Order your ultimate protection today at weathertech.ca.
Opening weekend of the Canadian Premier League starts April 5th. By the way, kudos to all the Canadian Premier League clubs. The full schedule reveals were really good.
They were good.
Halifax was number 1. It was really, really funny.
well.
Really well done. Shout out to the Wanderers. They're away at Ottawa to kick off the 2025 Canadian Premier League season. You can watch each and every game right here on One Soccer. All right, Cavalry, before that April 5th date, they have work to do tonight and potentially more if they can carry on in this competition. Look, they're significant underdogs heading into this game tonight against Pumas, but layering on top of that is this experience playing in Mexico for the first time, playing in front of the biggest crowd they've ever played in front of. Historically, Cavalry in 2019 played in front of just over 16,000 in BC Place. Like, this is just a significant moment for Cavalry on so many different levels, Jordan.
Yeah, there's nerves tonight, like no question. You're looking at this Cavalry side. Of course, they've been involved in big moments and won 3 months ago, right? That had great feelings about that match. But of course, you're going to be nervous going and playing there. The pitch, the conditions, the fact that you're also up, that can play on your mind. But I think if I'm in that locker room, or if I have any voice to say to these Cavalry players, is be present. Don't think about how things are going to be in 90 minutes. Really just take it for what it is, because you are ahead. You are feeling good, but you just have to live out the moment and live out the match. If they can do that, I think they might be smiling at the end of this.
There are a lot of older players in this Cavalry side. Not old, but just players with experience and true leaders as well. I look at the two midfielders tonight. They're going to have to set the tone in Charlie Trafford and Shamit Chom.
Yeah, and work together. I think it's one of those things in a big match as well, Wheels. You've played in them. I've played in them as well. Anytime you have players that try to be individuals, you get picked apart. You have to be a unit. So if Chom goes, Trafford has to slide over. Kabza, if he does make a mistake, Montgomery has to pick him up. It's these type of unity and moments that Cavalry have grown so much, but this is the day and the time to really test it.
It's funny. We all hope for a performance tonight. We all hope that Cavalry will advance. I get your vibes since when I came in here today, Jordan. You think that they can make this dream a reality?
I think so. I think the start is important. I think if you go 10 minutes in and you go a goal down and you see heads down, obviously it's going to be an uphill battle. But they just have to play out the game. Let the situations happen. I don't think they should sit back with 11 players and allow Pumas. There are moments where you give Pumas the ball and be like, come and hurt us. Because I agree with you. I don't think their attacking prowess is as great as maybe people make it out to be. All the pressure is on Pumas. But Cavalry just have to stay compact, stay together. And the most important thing is to believe. They have to believe that they can get this done.
That first goal is so crucial because Pumas allows them to kind of sit on it, force Cavalry out. But if Cavalry gets that first goal, the Pumas need at least 2 to potentially send it beyond the 90 minutes. I mean, there's all to play for here tonight. No matter what happens, Cavalry winning that last game was massive. Tonight could be making history yet again. It's Pumas and Cavalry in the Concacaf Champions Cup second leg. Look at the foot soldiers. Go on, Calgary! They're riding on down to Mexico City. We'll see what kind of party it will be. The task is a tall one. Let's see if history can be made and the dream can continue. It's Pumas and Cavalry. Is Jenkins and Jimmy on the...
This isn't your first time flying to show support for your team, but it is the first time you use the wrong kind of paint.
It says here you could try mayonnaise.
WestJet, where your story takes off.
Concacaf Champions Cup on One Soccer is brought to you by WestJet.
Are you having any fun? What you getting out of living? Who cares for what you've got if you're not having any fun? Are you having any laughs? Are you getting any loving? If other people do, why can't you have a little fun? And have a little fun.
Concacaf Champions Cup on One Soccer is brought to you by Volkswagen.
From nutritious feed to 7 times omega, enjoy the goodness of Nature Egg Omega Plus eggs. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Concacaf Champions Cup on One Soccer is brought to you by Allstate.
At the Estadio Olimpico Universitario one of the most iconic stadia in all of North America. It is truly a hallowed venue with so much history that has graced this track, that has graced this grass, and the millions of people who have filled its bowls over the years. A UNESCO World Heritage Site. All that to say, it's pretty much Broadway for Cavalry FC this evening as they look to add to that long reel of history with something that few thought would have been possible even 1 week ago. Heck, even after the first half of leg 1 week ago, maybe those gentlemen and ladies did. The traveling foot soldiers in Mexico City, what an incredible sight it is to see, and what an incredible night it will be, win, lose, or draw, for those supporters and for their club, because what is at stake is something we have never seen before. Canadian Premier League side with the opportunity to advance to the next round of the Concacaf Champions Cup. And if this stadium had a lid, it would feel a whole lot like a pressure cooker, because despite a fairly strong start to the Clausura season in Liga MX, the three-time champions of this tournament, Pumas, well, they're asking a whole lot of questions. They're asking questions about their gaffer. Their gaffer's not liking having questions asked of him because of where they are in the table. But certainly when you lose to a side with the relatively non-existent history that Cavalry has compared to Pumas, we're talking about a club that has been around since August the 2nd, 1954. So when 7-year-old Cavalry FC beats them, regardless of whether it's a cold, snowy, and slippery night in Langford, British Columbia, not just this tournament, North American football takes notice. Cavalry FC have put Pumas on notice, and they are 90 minutes away from eliminating them from this competition. Now, not to diminish